Let's do this.
And it's Monday here for the top 10 list from CovrPrice. Welcome back, family. How's it going? See, we already got some people pre-registering, pre-joining the chat, all going back almost an hour ago. Tito jumping in, making sure he's the first comment in the live cast. Stinger Buns, yes. Will it be another week of almost entirely Spider-Man? Sorry? I've looked at the list already. Yeah, sorry. But there are some interesting books. Okay, so Robert, hey, welcome back to the show, Rich and my fellow coconuts. And yeah, and also, yes, Robert, also hoping that it's not everything that's last week was 9 out of 10 was the Ultimate Spider-Man. So we got 90% last week. We can do a little bit better than that, hopefully. So I mean, guys, everybody realize that this is not CovrPrice saying what are the 10 best books. They're reporting the data that they're pulling in. Okay, so they're monitoring sales across different formats, price jumps and whatnot, and based on what we buy, they're telling us what are the hot 10 books. Okay, they're not saying these are good books to invest in. They're just saying this is what we're spending our money on. So our goal with this show, though, is the same as JP does, with the Comic Tom list and what's the other format other than CovrPrice? Well, whichever. I'm not going to advertise them. Anyway, is we just try to look at the list and say, this is a decent investment. This is not. We should wait for it. Come back in a few months. Stay away from it forever. Jump on it now. We're just trying to analyze what the books are on the list. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Coming in at number 10, we got an Ultimate Spider-Man book. Yes, this is the Mark Cicchetto Costume Tease C. It's the I think that's the Spider-Man 2099 variant. Of course, they are all going to say first appearance of Richard and May Parker. We've got sales of this now. Last recorded sale at 36, most common at 31, and actually, I can see that the last sale of a Near Mint Raw was at 26 on the 21st. Highest was at 45. So this book is already starting to come down a little bit, which I think we're going to see across the board on all the Ultimate Spider-Mans. I think if you have them, you should sell them. If you bought them just for value, and wait for it to come down, you can rebuy it. That being said, I'm looking at mine over there on the table. I haven't sold mine. Actually, I'm getting him ready to send them in for maybe a 10-book pre-screen. I'm only including 2 covers, one each of 2 different books of Ultimate Spider-Man. The rest are different books. Anywho, I still think this book has got a ways to come down. It's not a ratio variant. It's just straight up variant, of which there were a lot of. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 32 different variants of this book. Man, this one's going to crash hard. Anyway, so that is coming in at number 9. Coming in at number 8, we've got some fresh territory here. Avengers Twilight, number 1, that just came out on January 17th. It is the first appearance of James Stark. Now, I'll be honest, I did not read this, but I tried to research a little bit here. This is a future version. I don't think it's in the Earth. It might be in the Earth 616, might not. I don't know. But James Stark is apparently the son of Tony Stark and Janet Van Dyne. I didn't even know they hooked up. So, and as the son that nobody noticed that she was carrying for 9 months. She must have been shrunk the whole time. And he's a bad guy. So, $17. On one hand, I'm thinking, so many new characters are come out and have 99 out of 100 have no staying power. So is this $17 raw comic, is this going to be 35, $40 in a year, or is this going to be back to cover price? I'm leaning towards the latter. I think this is going to be back to cover price. I mean, I think Tosin even came back to Earth, and that was a character that everybody was really hyped about. I don't see this one being that, but it is a Chip Zdarsky, so he makes really good stories. I don't know. I honest to goodness don't know. Um, we've got most common raw sale 22, pre-sales of 9.8 at 140. That's going to come down. That's definitely going to come down. We've got sales of near mints at on the 25th at $14, the 28th at $24. So usually when they pop on the list, they have a little bit of a spike go up. Um, However, after they come off the list in a week or two, and they drop off of people's minds and other books pop on, they usually have a little bit of a lull. It's the number one, and this is a cover A. So even though I personally didn't pre-order this because I'm getting a little tired of all the different new series, I'm sure stores did buy a lot of these, and I guarantee you that somebody has sent out a 200 books pre-screen for this. I'd hold off on it. I mean, $17 really isn't that terrible a price to spend on if you can find a beautiful condition, you might want to. Maybe this is the one character that takes off. I don't know. Comes in at number 8, we have another one of the Ultimate Spider-Man books. This is the Ryan Stegman, and this is the only one that actually of them that has the cover appearance of Richard and May Parker, and it is the Happy Holidays from the Parkers. And what's really a shame is it's not that great artwork. I mean, it's okay, but it's just the faces don't look right to me on this. Um, just me personally, I don't know. And the bodies are fine, the background is fine, the color palette and the background is fine, but just the faces, I just don't like them. They're very dollish. Um, but again, this is just another one of those books that it's $18 now. Now, this book was selling for 40. Okay, it's at the highest known value, $40 for the raw. It is now last recorded sale 18. This one is already returning to Earth, and this is the one that actually has the new characters on the cover. So if that is not an indicator that this book is going to quickly, I don't know what is. This book is probably going to settle. I'm going to say about 10, 12 to 15. I don't think it's going to go all the way back down to cover price. So I think if you can start looking for one around the $15 mark, it's not going to be bad. Your goal is to try to find one for about 12 in 9.8, a 9.8 contender. There we go. So we got 9, 8, 7, number 6. Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, issue number 9 from 1977. Hey, we actually have a Bronze Age book here. Hallelujah. Oh, here we go. That holiday cover is an example of how they're cranking these out to take advantage of speculation. Those of us who remember the 90s can see where this will end up. Absolutely. Absolutely. But the one thing I will say that is at least they're pumping out books now like they did in the 90s, but at least now the storylines are a lot better than the stuff that they put out in the 90s. Remember in the 90s, they were also getting to the point where books were twice a month or 4 times weekly. And they just couldn't come up with decent stories and decent artwork to keep up with that pace. So at least now they're still pumping out a lot of books, but storylines on a lot of these books is good. But anyway, Spectacular Spider-Man number 9, first comic book appearance of White Tiger. Now this is because there have been some set leaks of pictures of White Tiger, who's going to be appearing in the Daredevil Born Again series. Now this is going to be, I think, 18 episodes. It's like two arcs. I think one arc, nine episodes, is going to be with Muse, and that book is still holding up in value. And I think you're going to see that one up on this list as well when once you start getting some set pictures of that leaking. But set picture that people saw of White Tiger, I'm hoping that the pictures that they showed that were leaked out were not actual ones that will be in the show. They were just kind of like a rough dress rehearsal because the costume looked horrific. It really did. Um, I don't know how well White Tiger is going to be received by the fandom in the MCU, but considering that this is a Spider-Man, I believe, has fought this character more than Daredevil has. This might be a good way to have Spider-Man and Daredevil function together on a street level fight. So could be interesting. I don't know. That being said, wrong time to buy this book. 9.8's highest known value, $750. If you remember, White Tiger was rumored to be in a different movie. And I'm wondering if it was Craven or if it was maybe he was one of the villains that was leaked for Spider-Man No Way Home. He definitely was leaked as a villain that never appeared. And back in 2021, somebody paid $750 for 9.8. Well, now the last sale is 302, and 9.6 is at 119. But there has not been a sale of this 9.8 since May of last year. And since May, these books have come down quite a bit. So if you are trying to score 9.8 of this book, don't go over double of a 9.6. So you're looking for 250 max. But even then, I'd still hold off on this. Wait. We're still a long ways away from getting Daredevil No Way Home. And how many times have they redone the script on this? If they decide to tear it up and go again, and you've sunk all your money into a possible villain that turns out to not be a villain, then that book is really going to go down. Even if they use them, how often do you see these villains? They peak when the show comes out, and bang, as soon as the show is over, that villain goes back down. I'll give you a prime villain that a lot of people love, is still in the books today, has his own book, and has crashed a lot. First appearance of Carnage. Where's that in comparison to where it was when the Carnage movie came out? Did Craven come out? No, it didn't come out yet. I think that's coming. Yeah, it's coming out later in 2024. We got 2 weeks until Madam Web comes out, which I'll be honest, I don't know if I'm going to go see it or not. I'm going to wait for the trailer, at least some of the reviews to know if I'm dumping my money into that, because I mean, Sony Spider-Verse is good when it's either animated or Marvel is holding their hand. Feige and company are holding their hand. But all these, oh, absolutely. But in fairness, there are a lot of Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man books. I mean, 1977 was just about when stores started to come out and people were collecting comic books and taking good care of them. And I remember the Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man run. This is number 9. Even number 1 in the 9.8 is not a terrible, terrible price. That one with the tarantula on the cover. Because people were actually buying and keeping good care of their books at this point. Starting to. I still wasn't. Anyway, I don't think this is a great time to get this book. If you can get a really good 9.6 in a book you think you can crack press and go for that 9.8, and you can get it for 108 to 110, it's not terrible. I'm waiting for Madam Web 2. Would rather watch the black and white Godzilla, which got its first Oscar nod for best special effects. Yes. And a lot of people are really ticked off that it wasn't nominated for best foreign film. You got to remember that each country can nominate, they send a movie as a representative for consideration. And the film that Japan picked, they had to pick it before Godzilla was even in the theaters over there. So they didn't even have a chance to, they had to make a selection before Godzilla was even out. That's why it's not nominated for other things. The black and white Godzilla is in movie theaters right now, and I think it ends on Friday. So, Robert, if you're gonna see it, you better hurry up. I want to go see it, but the way work is, I don't know if I'll have time. It's only 1 week in the theaters. Try to see it in IMAX if you can. Whew. Okay, so again, this is a anytime you can get a 1977 book in high grade, Spider-Man book can't hurt. However, I would just hold off until some of this news cools off a little bit. Number six, we are back to Ultimate Spider-Man, and not just Ultimate Spider-Man, but the previews for Ultimate Spider-Man. $10 for the raw grade. Most common raw 17. Well, 10 is the last sale. Okay. I have seen a ton of times that the previews books pops on the list because the regular book shoots up like crazy and people just want to have uh, something connected to it. And in the long run, the previews always goes down. No, don't get this book. My kids work at a local cinema, so I can see it for free. Come up and we can go. Now, Robert, I'll be perfectly honest. That sounds wonderful, but I'm pretty sure it would be cheaper for me to go to the theater here than to go from Georgia to New York to save the money on a movie ticket. I mean, if you throw in popcorn too, we might have a deal. We'll see. No, in all seriousness, I would actually love to, but dude, we're like what 900 miles apart. That's a long ways. I remember my friends worked in a movie theater. Oh, so great going from cinema to cinema, not paying a dime. Okay, so this is not a good. I bet you I could go backwards through all of these issues that they show here and see other books that were hot at the time, momentarily hot at the time because the regular book shot up, and even when, um, what was that comics magazine that, and I have I went and bought a copy because I'm an idiot. That had the first appearance of Harley Quinn from the Batman Adventures, but it was like 9 months beforehand. Even that appeared briefly on the hot list, and man, did that take a nosedive. Now, I just bought a low grade copy just to have a low grade. I didn't pay a lot of money for it, but these preview books, they 99.99999% of the time do not hold any value. I do not recommend it at all. Well, we've hit the first five, and we're at our midway point. And I want to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you so much to all of our Patreon members who help support the channel by joining in. I'm going to be putting up a poll on the Patreon about when we can have a get together just to touch base with each other. We haven't talked for a little while, and maybe I can try to get something together to give you guys to say thank you. I just miss talking to you. So see if we can also get some good ideas for where you guys would like to see the channel move on to. Coming in at number 5, we're at the top 5, and we have, oh my goodness, an Ultimate Spider-Man book. Now, this is a J. Scott Campbell book. Now, I pre-ordered this one because I thought it looked cool in a small frame. But if you look at it closely, it's okay. It's not one of J. Scott's best works. It's good. It's good, but it's not his best. And I have one of the cover A, one of these. That's the only. I bought 2 cover A's. Gave one away on New Comic Book Day. So glad somebody won that. I like the book. I think it's got real good, solid whites that if I can get a signature or even signature sketch that works pretty well. We've got $20 for a raw as the last recorded sale, and the highest is a CGC 9.8, which is obviously a pre-sale for $80. Now that's not terrible, but I think that shows you where this market is headed. There's got more people bought this than the costume tees just because of the way the book looks. I can guarantee you more people pre-ordered this book because I like that cover. So $80 is what it's pre-sold for now, and that's the highest known value. So I haven't checked on eBay. There may be other people that are pre-selling at 75 or 70. I don't know. Actually, according to sales data, no, only one, 79.95. So if that's sold for on the 23rd, so it was already after the hype part. This book is going to come back down. I think you're going to find these in the long run for about 60, 55 to 60 for the 9.8s and 10, 12 for the raws. I wish it would go up even higher. I wish it would, but I don't think it will because that's just the history of how other books like this have performed. Coming at number 4. Uh, okay, we have X Force number 48, the John Cassidy variant. One person on Reddit said, "It looks like John Cassidy lost a bet and had to draw this with his non-dominant hand while sitting in the passenger seat and steering the car with his dominant hand." I saw this in the store and thought it was one of the ugliest covers I've ever seen, and I had no interest in buying it. I just did not like this at all. So why? This is selling for $16. And I mean, near mint 25. Last recorded most common $16. There's been several sales at 60. The prices are all over the place if you look at the sales data. The only thing I can think of on this, well, two things. One is market manipulation. Two, people went to previews guide and they saw that and said, "No, I'm not ordering it." Stores saw how this looked and said, "No, I'm not ordering it. It's never going to sell." And as a result, it has an extremely low print run. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, I wish I wish I could show that even bigger on the screen to get you guys to see. Wow. And Deegan Pecoris, the artist over at Syndicate, um, he and I had a discussion about. I'm going to bring myself back up to full speed. He said one of the hardest things to do is to draw an arm like this. Okay, not this way is one is easy because you can show all the muscles, which I don't have that many. But drawing it like this in any way is very, very hard. When you see this, apparently he didn't take the class that was necessary. Yes, yes, I agree. This is um this is one of the worst covers that I have honestly ever seen. I don't know what the interior art looks like. I'm hoping maybe, the alcohol wore off by the time he got to that. But yeah, I mean, maybe if John's Comics with Kids decided to run comic gories again, if they get the time to do that, and they have a category of worst cover art, you want to have this in your collection so you can win. So do I think that this is worth $16? Man, I wouldn't buy a 10 pack for $16. I don't want this in my collection. So I can say right now, this is not for me. It may, because of real scarcity and the fact that it gets talked about, continue to go up in price though. I don't know. This is like a non-comic acetate cover. I don't know. But me, I would not get this. Moving it to number. Oh, even Liefeld was disgusted. Well, that's because Wolverine's chest wasn't big enough. All right, coming in at number 4 is another one of the Chichetto covers. This is a custom tease A Black Spider-Man costume of the Ultimate Spider-Man #1. Now this one is it's ridiculous. Last recorded sales $75. This is not a ratio variant, guys. This is just a regular book, and it's the black costume, so it's going to be one of the more pre-ordered ones. If anything, I'd go for B, which is a classic red and blue. But most common raw 73, last sale 75, and the current trend is down, but it's down less than 1%. So highest known raw value of $120. Somebody spent $120 on this. Wasn't me. Thought I saw it at the store, but it wasn't me. Anyway, um, yeah, I think that this. If you ever watch JP's Budget Collecting when he does his review, he's got two real bottom categories. One is dumpster fire, and the other one it shows Captain Picard. Like what the come on, like what the hell? Come on, man. Are you serious? I don't know this could be like a bit of both. Are you serious? And this being a dumpster fire, I don't see this being $20 in a year. I think it's going to lose 75% of its value. I certainly would not spend and you know what? If I'm wrong and this book shoots up and it goes to $500, I'll still sleep well at night knowing that I could have used that $75 for some lower grade golden age book or towards a book that would make me feel better. Yeah. Other than that, though, no, thank you very much. There's too many variants, it's too much everything, and I think that the entire Ultimate Spider-Man is going to come down at some point quickly. So we have coming in at number 2, Ultimate Invasion, last week's number 1. This is Ultimate Invasion number 1 from August of 2023, the second print, which had the first cover appearance of the new Ultimate Spider-Man. So it's Ultimate Spider-Man, Earth 6160, and Peter Parker from Earth 6160. We've got $33 was the last recorded sales, 9.8 of 112, and the highest 9.8 was about a week ago at 117. So it's holding pretty steady, depending upon how well Ultimate Spider-Man does. This might be one of the more stable investments in the entire gambit, in my opinion, because it's a book that people didn't blow out of proportion back then, and it's a second print. So it's going to be a little bit harder to find. I think that like you're going to find your Ultimate Spider-Man's 10 billion copies of it all over the place, but I don't think there are a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people bought Ultimate Invasion number 1 second print, especially since August last year. I think it was before Secret Invasion, but I think everything with the word invasion was already starting to fall apart. You can get a high grade raw for 33, 36. I don't see any 9.6 sales. So this might be in a very weak. WEAK. WEEK. A very poor 7-day period. There we go. This might be one of your better selections. As the saying goes, in the land of the blind, the man with one eye is king. And speaking of king, coming in at number 1, last week's number 2, and moving up, if was there any doubt, last is the Ultimate Spider-Man number 1, the cover A, which, by the way, guys, I did look ahead at upcoming. The cover A of issue number 3, it's got Spider-Man and Kingpin fighting on it. And the cover looks cool. So look up your pre-orders. You might want to get a copy of that just because it's cool. First appearance of Richard and May Parker, as every issue is. We've got last recorded sales value of $60. Most common, 67. Slabbed is pre-selling for 140. Highest known slabbed is 159. This total recorded sales, 489 sales. Wow, these are just flying everywhere. And looking at 60, a week ago, 14th, 16th, 22, we're at 50, 45, 46, 72. Again, the numbers are all over the place. It's the only reason it's still this high is because I think people are afraid it's going to go higher. Some people are afraid it's going to go higher, and it's not. It can't. It can't sustain it based on the volume of how many was printed. If this was an image or a Boom Studios book that was shooting up like this, then you could have a chance that it was a lower print, or an IDW. But a Marvel or DC book of their main characters, like a DC book of Batman, do you really think they only printed that many? No. Uh, so even though I have a copy of this and I'm going to send it in from the pre-screen and I hope it comes back at 9.8, I don't expect its long-term value on a 9.8 to be more than say 75 to $80. And I do not expect the raws to hold a value of more than 20 in the long run. All right, so that is the top 10 list. Again, another list where there again, CovrPrice is just reporting the data. So if you buy a book here in a year or in 3 months or in 20 minutes, it drops in value. Don't hold CovrPrice accountable. They're just reporting what we're buying. There are people actually buying X Force #4. Okay. Ugh. All right. So I have to make now two picks. One is my gun to my head, and one is the rubber band to the butt. The gun to my head pick, which I do every week, is based on current values. Which book would I spend the money on? I have to buy one that I think in the long run has the best chance to at least hold value, possibly be worth more. And I'm sorry, I'm not sold on the Ultimate Spider-Man, but that right there is going to knock out 7 out of the 10. But even though it's a little bit on the hype list, I would be going for 1, 2, 3. I would be going for Spectacular Spider-Man #9, but I'm not looking for a 9.8. I'm looking for that 9.6. If I can find, I mean, even a 9.6 of a 1977 book, a Spider-Man book. If I could find one, especially if it's like one of the older CGC labels where they were a little stricter. Larry, what's up, dude? I know you were going to sick leave. No, I'm not. I'm really not. No, no. Uh, dude, I would rather buy a Dazzler book. Okay, what does that tell you? So, um, I think a 9.6 with a potential for a crack and repress of a 9.8, getting a Spider-Man book from 1977 with the first appearance. I think that's probably my best shot. If I can find fines are going for 28. What's are they listing? Near mint copies 37. Near mint quote unquote 9.6 at 10s. Last sales of 2021, so we can't really go by that. You're looking for about let's just be generous to say $40 for a beautiful raw. I would do that. I would do that because I do like the cover. You got to be very careful. You got a lot of red on that cover, and I don't know what the back cover looks like on that. 1977 might be the same. Wait, August of 77. What was on the back of Star Wars #1? Probably the same ad. I'm not reaching up there. Anyway. I'm tempted to buy one and send it to you. I might have to make some kind of a video about how you get rid of a book with a chainsaw. Anyway, so that would be either a really, really high grade raw or that 9.6. I'd be okay with getting that Peter Parker. And what would be my rubber band to the butt? The worst pick that I consider on here for value's sake. Value's sake. Okay, not just the worst pick, because that would be the X Force #4. X Force, yeah, number 48, whatever. For value's sake, I'm still thinking it is the Ultimate Spider-Man. The Costume Tees A black costume for $75. I just think that's gonna die such a quick kamikaze death. It's not funny. Um, Guys, I want to know what your picks are. Tell me what you say in the comments about the worst pick. Um, I mean, I know Larry is already thinking about getting the X Force just to send it to me, but I think we're kind of pointing out at that point it's not a great pick. While we are discussing this, though, I'm going to just pull out one thing. Is last week I made my gun to the head pick in it. As soon as I saw it on the list, and again, is it a great book? Is it a very very common book? Absolutely. But I'd said that I had already made my choice in advance because I bought it. Oh, yes, please. I appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. And if you're watching this on the replay, make sure you drop a comment on that too. But last week, there was a book on a number 10 spot. And before this show aired, I liked it, looked on eBay because I wanted to see what current prices were. And I saw one for a decent price, just a couple bucks under FMV, and got it. And it came in already. And I got my darker image, first appearance of the Max at a 9.8. There he is right there on the cover. Yes, extremely high printed book. Everybody's got 20 copies, but I just wanted to have a 9.8 of it. So the Max does turn into a real thing. This might have a little spike, go to 150. Um, Rob Liefeld on the cover there. So basically, that's not exaggerated art. That's just normal. um, they might have a little spike, go to 150, and then I see if I can go to a show and trade for something. Yeah. Uh, I don't even want to see that X Force again, much less buy it. Look, Robert, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm willing to bet you we'll see this book at least one more week on the hot list. So, and I don't want to because as we're talking, you're looking at the screen. You see me out of the corner of my eye. I'm still seeing that dang book there. I don't want to see it no more. I'll close the screen. I can't deal with it. All right. So, guys, I want to thank you so much for joining for another live stream of the Cover Price Top 10. If you're watching this on a replay, don't forget to click like and subscribe, please. Join us for a new comic book day on Wednesdays where we give away books every single week. Also, uh, put information that you have in the comments because not just share it with me, but the other viewers of the video would love to know what if you have any other insights on the books that I've talked about, other books that you think should be appearing on the hot 10 list. Maybe think that something that's on the 11 through 20, something that you think is going to be on a hot list next week. Make a prediction. Show us how smart you are. uh, Not the base, not the base. I'm going to end it on that note. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Until I see you in the next video. Mahalo.